right, 16 to life. How's it going?
Man, it's going good, man. Thank you for having me on, Cam.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem, man. I see you doing your thing. You
Hey,
got
I'm
your YouTube
trying.
shit cracking pretty good.
I'm trying, man.
Dope, man. Well, we'll get to know you a little bit better for the fans and everybody
All
that
right.
might not know, my audience might not know a lot about you. I know you got your own thing on YouTube, but, my fans would probably like to get to know you a little bit better. So, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Bannon, California, small town in Riverside County.
Okay, and you grew up there your whole life?
Born and raised.
Okay, and what was it like for you growing up there?
Oh, man, it was cool. Bannon was a real small town, close-knit community. I was born in 1971, so everybody knew everybody, so it was real cool.
Okay, and do you have any brothers and sisters?
I got one older brother by the name of William.
Okay, and what was your family life like?
And like I say, it was real cool growing up. My mom and my dad, they eventually separated, but my dad, he ended up moving like maybe about a 5-minute car drive right around the corner. So, it was real cool, man. Lots of toys, motorcycles, all that type of stuff.
But at some point you started getting in trouble.
Yeah, I would say probably like around the age of about 14, I got into selling weed, hustling, jumped off the porch, hanging with the homies, eventually started selling crack cocaine. That was like around the time that, 86, 87, when drugs started hitting pretty heavy, crack cocaine and all that type of stuff, gang activity.
And you were doing this in junior high or high school?
High school, 9th, 10th grade.
Okay, and what was high school like for you?
Like I say, once again, man, it was cool, because I would say maybe 90% of people that I went to high school with, I went to first grade with, elementary. We all grew up together. So it was like just one giant, big, extended family,
Okay, and you getting in trouble and being in the streets and everything, at any point did you ever get arrested?
Well, I ended up going to juvenile hall. Maybe in late '89, hit a dude in the head with a baseball bat at a liquor store, and I ended up going and doing maybe about 30 days in juvenile hall for that.
You're just a kid. What was that experience like for you?
Well, by that time, even though I was a kid, I was like 17, but by that time, I'd been in the streets for a while, at least 3-4 years and stuff. So, it was just another part of the life. My dad got into it with an individual at the store. The owners of a store basically tried to go and tell him to go to the back. And I do a little story about that on my YouTube page, and I talk about how, I went up there with a baseball bat and ended up hitting the guy in the head, and he woke up hollering, "Go get my pistol! Go get my pistol!" So, like I said, I do a story on my YouTube page, and I also go into like little imitations on my stories and stuff. So, yeah, if y'all get a chance, go check it out. I think the name of that story is called Baseball Bats Aren't Just Meant for Baseball, or something like that.
All right, and now you're on probation, I take it?
Yeah, they ended up putting me on probation, a couple years probation.
Okay, and now you got to be more cautious when you're doing things because it's a lot easier, right? The cops pull you over, they can search your car. They don't need to ask for permission anymore.
Well, I was on probation, not parole, so I don't think they could have done all that. But who knows? But when you're that young and you're that age, you're not even thinking about all that type of stuff. So pretty much nothing changed in the way I was moving.
Did you graduate?
Yeah, and I graduated high school in '89.
Okay, from Banning?
Bannon High, huh?
Okay, okay, that's what's up. And what was that like for you, graduating?
Well,
being that you've been in so much trouble, juvenile hall and everything like that. You graduated. That's a big accomplishment.
Well, it was cool, and by that time, actually, I was actually going to continuation. And so my mom was a big influence on me graduating because my brother, who's 1 year older than I, he took his early exit exam or whatever that is. So he was working. He's been working all his life, and he was a manager at Taco Bell. So he didn't walk the stage or whatever. He graduated like early in the 12th grade year. And so I was going to continuation. I'd been messing up at school, and the way things was looking like I wasn't going to graduate. But she said, it was, she really would have liked to see one of us or both of us graduate and walk the stage. So, I started working real hard, and I was able to graduate.
Okay, and you graduate. Are you rapping at this time?
Yeah, I've been rapping ever since I was about 13, 12 or 13 years old. But like I say, I'm rapping, but it's more of a hobby. I'm really into the streets. I'm into selling drugs, gang banging, that type of stuff. So.
And what do you do after high school?
Well, after high school, maybe about a month or two after I graduated, maybe 2 or 3 months, I'm out there, I'm in the hood, I'm selling dope. I ended up getting shot one day. I was out on the block selling drugs, and a guy came over. I believe they tried to rob me. And so, I run to the car, I ask them what you need, and they tell me to get in the car, and it's two of them, they're in the front seat.
They pull a gun on you and say get in the car, or they just...
Well, no, they see, like when you're out there selling dope, a lot of people will be running to the car. Back then, everybody's running to the car trying to make the sale. So I ran to the car, and they said, hey, hop in, let's go around the corner. So I hopped in the front seat. Now, it's two of them in the front seat. So when I hopped in, I told the other guy to scoot over. And so when I jumped in, at some point in time, I just felt like I felt a burning pain in my ass. I got shot in the ass. And so then I jumped out of the car, and he came around to the front. He put the gun in my face. He said, give it here, give it here. And I'm thinking like, damn, this motherfucker already shot me once. So I just threw him the dope, But like I say, I believe it was a accident. I believe when I told the guy to scoot over, I believe I just accidentally set on the gun. I think he had a gun sitting right here. I think they assumed I was going to get in the back seat, and they probably had planned to drive me around the corner and rob me. But once I hopped in the front, from the way he shot me up under the ass, I think I kind of spoiled their plans. I think he was trying to pull the gun from up under me, and it just accidentally went off. So he went ahead with the robbery right there.
Okay, and now you're shot. Are you going on your way to the hospital? What do you do?
Well, actually, I had I still had about $40 worth of dope in my hand. So after I threw in my dope sack, I stayed out there another 5 or 10 minutes and sold that. I had to make that sale. I had to get that money. Then I walked right around the corner to my cousin's house, and she called my other cousin, and they took me to the hospital.
So I take it you weren't bleeding that bad.
Well, I knew I was shot in the ass. I couldn't quite tell how bad I was bleeding. It was nighttime and stuff. And I'm like I say, once again, I'm young, so I'm thinking I just got shot in the ass. And so, yeah, didn't give me a whole lot of pain. So after I made the sale, then I walked right around the corner and went to the hospital.
So you get to the hospital, and what happens?
Oh, they're in there laughing, cracking jokes, talking about, I bet you this is a real pain in the ass and all that type of stuff. They end up taking me back there, and eventually they just left the bullet right where it was, because they said it would have done more damage to remove it. So it's still in there today.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have any complications from it or anything like that?
When it gets cold, it doesn't bother me. No trouble whatsoever. I can't even tell it's there unless I physically go and touch it.
Okay. All right. So now you get shot. You make it through it. Do you still go back to selling drugs?
Oh yeah, I'm right back out there. I'm still out there hustling and stuff. Just so happens I had some cousins who came down visiting from Montana. They come down from Thanksgiving, and so they encouraged me to come back with them, visit Montana and stuff. So I end up, moving to Montana.
Okay. Well, now was that a big change for you?
Yeah, it was, because initially when I get out there, it's December. So it's cold, it's snow all over the place, big giant icicles hanging off the house. And I was surprised, a lot of people asked me, well, damn, you was out in Montana? Like, damn, they got any blacks out there? But it was quite a few out there. They got 2 colleges out there. You had a lot of brothers out there who went out there for sports scholarships. And then, surprisingly enough, too, they had a lot of pimps and shit out there from like Milwaukee, Chicago, Rockford, Illinois, some dudes from Oakland and stuff. So we was out there, hustling and selling dope. Actually, it was a nice little underworld out there in Billings, Montana.
So you didn't change when you went back there?
Oh, no, I just went out there,
thing.
the same thing. And actually, the prices out there was, you can make much more than you can make in California. So, I was out there selling drugs, and at that time it was powder cocaine, because this is 1989, and they like rocks too. They used to call them ready rocks. They like rocks too, but I guess they didn't really know how to cook it out there. So a lot of them was just using the powder cocaine.
Okay. And now you're out here. Is there any crazy stories you have from those times?
Oh yeah, man. Well, I met a lot of dudes out there, man, and one of my favorite characters out there was this pimp and a pickpocket by the name of Fox. I started hanging with him and chilling with him and stuff, man. And one day I happened to be shooting dice, and I was shooting dice with this dyke, and her name was Stella. And so he come in here, he said, "Yeah, Gio, yeah, man, what's going on, man?" That's the way he talked. He was from Georgia. And so I told him, yeah, man, I'm shooting dice, man. This chick is winning all my money. And he said, is that right? So he stood back and he just watched me for a little while. Then all of a sudden, he just came up off the wall. He said, Stella, surrender that money. And she looked up. She said, what, Fox? He said, bitch, surrender that money. Bam, he just slapped the shit out of her. And now it was crazy because maybe about a month or two before, I used to see Fox and Stella riding around. They was hanging out. So I don't know what that came in between them or something. But, you know, and then she said, oh, come on, Fox. He said, bitch, I said surrender it. And he reached in his pocket. He pulled out a big-ass giant butcher knife, you know. And so she threw the money at his feet and jumped up and eventually took off and ran outside the back. And like I said, y'all go check that out, too. I got a lot of stories on my page about Fox. You know, like I say, he was a cold pimp pocket. He was a pickpocket, cold pimp, and funny character. A lot of times he'd come and he'd buy some dope. You know, he'd get the dope on credit. And he was a real good dude. You know, he always kept his word. And you know, I'd give him some dope. And one of his favorite sayings was, yo, yeah, bitch, yo, man, yeah. Just tell me what I owe you, man. Yeah, yo. Just tell me what I owe you. So, you know, that was his thing, man. He's a real funny dude. Y'all definitely be sure to check that out.
Sounds like a character.
Yeah, he was a real character. He used to dress like Pops from the Wayans brothers. Cause like I said, at that time he probably was in his early 40s, late 30s. He'd have on these tight ass polyester suits and plaid jackets and stuff. He was a real funny dude.
Man, all right, okay. And you didn't want to go back home?
Well, you know, I'd go back home periodically to visit and just to purchase more drugs. But, you know, Montana, like I say, it was cool, man. I was out there gambling, selling dope, making way more money than I'd ever made in California. So, yeah, I'd get homesick, but then I was out there living. So I'd go back, definitely was staying in Montana and, you know, enjoying everything I was doing out there.
What are some crazy purchases that you bought during all this?
Well, you know what? I wasn't big on a whole lot of stuff. Outside of, I had a lot of gold, and that was pretty much it. Just gold and tennis shoes. You know, I had a few cars and stuff, you know, low riders with the rims and stuff like that. But besides that, that was about it.
Okay, and at one point you ended up getting in trouble.
Yeah, well, one time I ended up going down to California to get some more drugs, and I ended up going to a house party and ended up getting to a shootout at a house party. I got into a shootout at a house party, and 3 individuals happened to get shot, and so I had to go on the run. You know, my name came up, and I was wanted for that.
Okay, and so you go on the run. How long are you on the run for?
I was on the run for about a year.
So every day you gotta watch your back. You're looking over your shoulder. They can kick in the door. You know, when you drive somewhere, if you get pulled over, they might find you. Did you get any fake IDs or anything?
Yeah, I had that happen a lot of times, and what happened is I end up getting a fake ID, and the information on the ID was real, but my friend had a fake ID, so I went and got my picture. I went down to I think it was 5th and Alvarado in LA, and I ended up getting my picture. I took a fake ID and I used his information. So if the police had to check the card, the information would have been real, but unfortunately my height and weight didn't add up to his height and the weight, and so that might have been a problem. But yeah, like you say, a couple times the police pulled me over. I took off running and stuff, so it was definitely very hectic, you know.
What was the closest you got to getting caught before you got caught?
I would say in Denver. I got pulled over in Denver, and me and a buddy, we was in the car, and they ended up taking us down to the station, and my buddy took off running actually from them, you know. And so they ended up catching him. I didn't run, so they took me to the station. And
now, why didn't you run?
Well, because I was using my brother's name, and in Montana, your driver's license is your social security number in Montana, and so I knew my brother's social security number, so I thought that I would be cool, you know, and so, but initially, see, I didn't know they was gonna take us to jail either. But once my buddy took off running, that's when they handcuffed us, and it messed everything up. So now when we go to jail, I'm assuming that, you know, they're going to use the fingerprint machine, because now they had arrested me in Montana. They had raided my house for drugs. So I already knew I was in the system. I was on probation at that time in Montana. So I'm assuming that, you know, the fingerprint machine is going to come back. My fingerprints are going to come back, and they're going to take us back. But just so happened, for my good luck, the fingerprint machine was broke. So they ended up letting me go. But they kept my buddy because he ran, charged him with obstructing justice. And so He eventually got out maybe about 1 or 2 in the morning.
So you get out of this thing
Right,
by just the skin of your teeth, man.
right.
Just breeze through. Okay, so now you're back on the streets.
Back on the streets.
You know, how are you surviving every day?
Well, I'm still selling drugs. Like I say, the drug dealing in Montana was extremely lucrative.
So you're in Montana doing this?
Well, no, I'm at this point in time I'm in Denver because okay, let me backtrack. After the shooting in Bannon, I ended up going back to Montana. Maybe about 3 or 4 days later, the police pull me over out there. I take off running and I get away. So from that point then, I go to Denver. I had some family out in Denver. So then I go to Denver. So like I said, they pulled me over in Denver. They let me go. When they let me go, I leave. Maybe about a week later. I leave about a week later. 2 days after I leave, they go raid the place that I was staying at in Denver. But during this time, I got a couple homies in Montana, so I'm still sending drugs out there and having them sell it for me. Like I say, the dope game back there was extremely lucrative. I could come to California and buy an ounce for about $300-400, take it out there, sell it for $2,000 right across the table, and make more than that if I happen to break it down and sell it in smaller quantities.
Okay, so you were still just making money. You were just on the run.
Right.
Now are you like, damn, man, I'm gonna have to at some point I'm gonna get caught?
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. Because I'm young. Like I say, I'm young. I'm running around. I got these charges, these attempted murder charges hanging over my head. So I'm thinking that, yeah, eventually I'm supposed to go to jail. And so, I'm living life. And then, so eventually, by the time I did get caught, I had been charged with another murder.
Okay, so you get arrested, and what do they charge you with initially?
Well, initially I'm charged with 3 counts of attempted murder.
Okay, that was the house party, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was the shooting at the party.
Okay, so you get in there. They charge you with these 3 counts of attempted murder. How much time are you looking at?
Life.
Life. Okay, and how long are you doing all this before they hit you with the murder?
I stay in the county probably about 4 or 5 months until they charge me with the murder as well.
Okay. So now you've been charged with murder, 3 attempted murders, man. I mean, this is probably pretty stressful times. I mean, conviction of either one of these, and there's a good chance that you might not never see daylight again.
Right.
So how do you start building your defense?
Well, I ended up hiring a lawyer. I went and got a private lawyer and just put it in his hands and let him do what he did. Me, I was young. I'm gang banging. I got a gang banging mentality. And so I feel like all that type of stuff came with it came with the territory. And a lot of people used to tell me when I was in there, they was like, oh, damn, Chill, I didn't know you was facing life. And I'm thinking like, well, damn, how am I supposed to act when I'm facing life? So I was always upbeat, I guess, just blessed with a good personality, And then also, like I say, being young and dumb, not thinking that they had enough evidence to find me guilty.
Okay. So do you go to trial?
Yeah, I end up going to trial on the 3 attempted murders.
Okay, and what happens there?
They found my ass guilty. Yeah, they find me guilty. They end up finding me guilty of because 3 individuals got shot. 1 got shot in the head, 2 got shot in the leg, and so they found me guilty of great bodily injury of the guy who got shot in the head, and the other individual who they say I was trying to shoot, who didn't even get hit at all. They gave me life for attempted murder on him. So I got 9 years plus life. 9 years for the guy who got shot in the head, and then a life sentence for the guy who didn't even get hit at all.
So now it's looking like for you, like, it's over.
It's all bad.
It's all bad. Okay, now, but you said you still got a murder charge hanging.
I still got a trailing murder case to deal with.
Okay, so do you go to court for this?
Yeah, so I stay in there probably another year, so now I get another private lawyer. And when I got him, he asked me because I told him I wasn't taking no deals because I got life already. So I'm figuring like, fuck it. Why take a deal when I got life now? You know what I'm saying? So, but initially when I hired him, he asked me if he could get me 16 years without taking. And I told him no, So later on, though, I end up taking that 16 years. But I think he was just waiting for me to pay him all his money. And once I did that, he ended up getting a deal. And by this time, family and friends is kind of spooked because they're telling me that I'm going to get another 25 to life sentence to run consecutive to the 9+ life that I already got. So they're basically like my lawyer. If you ever want a chance at possibly ever coming home, I'd advise you to take this deal.
Okay, so it would have been concurrent. 16 years concurrent, right? So consecutive, for people who don't know, they're listening, would mean one sentence after the other.
Right.
Right? One would finish and then you start your next one. Concurrent means that sentences are running together. So if you got a 10-year sentence and a 15-year sentence and they're ran concurrent, you do your 15 and you're done. Right? Okay.
Right. The big one eats the little one up. But in my case, the DA wouldn't run them concurrent like that. What he said he'd do is he would let the 16 and the 9 run concurrent. But remember, I had 16 plus life. A lot of people get 16 to life. So, or whatever, 25 to life. So in my case, what I end up having to do, I had to do the 16 years first, then a life sentence under the old California law, which is 7 years. So I had now, instead of 9 plus life, now I have 16 plus life.
Oh, okay. So, back then a life sentence was 7 years?
It was after 7 years, you'd be eligible for parole.
Eligible for parole. Okay. It's not like that no more, right? Life is life now, right?
Well, now, due to a lot of new rules and changing of the laws, now actually it's much better than it was when I went in. When I went in, even though if you had life, the parole boards wasn't granting any lifers parole, and then if they did, the governors in California have the final say. So the parole board can give you a date to go home and find you suitable, but then the governor has the power to say, hey, I don't want this guy going home. I'm gonna basically rescind the order of the parole board, and he has to go through the process again after maybe a year or two. So, but now, like I say, due to a lot of laws and stuff being changed, now when you have life, you can get out and go home.
Okay. And so what's jail like for you? Now you're in there, you got a long time to do. What are you doing in there? What's going on?
Jail is treacherous, man, because I'm from a small town, and I'm from a small hood. So, in jail, like I say, when I first went, it wasn't about rehabilitation. That shit is out the window. You're trying to survive in there, then you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. And unfortunately, I was sent to the worst of the worst prison. I was sent to a level 4, 180, a prison by the name of Salinas. And then on top of that, it's a brand new prison. So when the prisons are new, you got your different groups. You got your Crips, you got your Bloods, you got your Hispanics from up north, you got your Hispanics from down south. You got your Aryan Brotherhood. Everybody's jockeying and fighting for position. Everybody's trying to establish where they're gonna hang out at. And so if some type of deal can't be met, a lot of times it's a lot of war. So like I say, I'm new. I'd never been to prison before. And people up there getting stabbed and stuff. So it's just it was a learning experience.
What do you think was like one of the worst things you've seen in there?
Well, to me, one of the most eye-opening things I've seen, because I've seen a lot of people stabbed and stuff, but it was just the way they went about it. And I tell this story also on one of my YouTube stories. Me and this individual, we caught the chain going. That means we left the reception center, because when you first leave your county jail, they'll send you to a prison in this reception center. They basically diagnose you and see what type of housing that you need. Me and this individual, we were at this reception center. He was only 18 or 19 years old, had 15 to life. So we catch the chain together, we get to Salinas Valley. When we get to Salinas Valley, he has another one of his older homeboys from his hood that comes out, brings him a lot of food, toothpaste, stuff like that, stuff to get his, until he can get his property and stuff. So once we're there a month or two, it comes out that this individual that has brought out the stuff to the guy I caught the chain with, he's done something at another prison and he's got to get stabbed. And since that dude was from the same particular hood, they chose him to stab him. And so then on top of that, seems like everybody knew the guy was going to get stabbed except for him. And so to me, I just realized how treacherous prison was. Because like I say, I grew up in a small community where, a lot of my homies, I've been knowing them all my life. So, once it fell in this guy's hands to stab his older homie, I said, wow, man, this shit is serious, So he ends up stabbing the guy in the neck. The guy takes off running. He snatches the knife out his neck. Now I'm thinking when he done that, he's gonna chase the dude because he was a bigger dude. I'm thinking that he was gonna chase this dude and get him. No, he ran to the building that he was in, kicked on the door and said, "Hey man, hey!" Whatever he said to him. They let him in. Then they put the yard down. Everybody had to lay down, and maybe about 5 or 10 minutes later, some golf carts, some fake ass like ambulance shit. They went down there and got him and put him on a golf cart and they brought him out. And so that's the first time in prison I was scared and I realized like, damn, this shit is serious.
Who all did you run into when you were locked up?
I ran across a lot of dudes, man. I ran across the rapper X-Rated. I ran across the rapper Trey D, J.O. Felony, Big U, a lot of dudes out of that Monster Cody book. Just a whole lot of dudes.
Okay, because you would have been locked up from like 1990?
From 96. Well, I was in the county jail from 94 to 96. And then I was locked up in the California prisons from 96 to 2018.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wow. So you really just got out.
Right.
Okay. And, what is it like for you overall? Just getting by, just, doing your time. Are you thinking you're ever going to get out?
Well, no, I didn't, because like I say, back then, if you had life, even though you may have had life with parole, the parole board wasn't letting anybody out. And then if they did, the governors was basically vetoing the finding of suitability. So, no, I never thought I was getting out. It was just day-to-day living, man, in there trying to survive, learning about, being in prison, learning how the rules go, and just, wasn't even concentrating or thinking about it. My way of dealing with having life was not dealing with it, That's how I dealt with it. Just didn't think about it.
Okay. And now, when do you start to think that you might be getting out?
Maybe about 2009, 2008. Like I say, they made some changes with the parole board. They started revamping the policies. They a lot of lifers who had, say a lifer may have had 7 years to life and he'd been in prison 35, 40 years. You have dudes like this. They're starting to file appeals and stuff, and the courts are ruling in their favor from time to time, which is really opening up the doors on, lifers being freed. So once this started happening, they started letting more and more lifers out, and so I'm starting to see people go home, and that, obviously started making me think that I could possibly go home as well.
At what point did you go to see the parole board the first time?
Well, I think I was first scheduled to go see the parole board. It might have been in like 2009, 2010. And at that point, I was so shook up in terms of, having a attempted murder and also having a murder. I didn't think these people was ever going to let me go. So instead of going, I put it off for a year. I volunteered to not go because, like I say, to me, that was another terrifying event when I'm in prison because I'm thinking like, these people ain't never going to let me go, so I didn't know what to say. And so I just postponed it for a year.
How many times did you postpone it?
Well, I ended up postponing it 3 times. I postponed it the next time after that year was up. I postponed it again. And then the next time I went in there, I had just got into a riot. I was coming out the hole. And so I'd been out the hole for about 2 months. And that time I wanted to go. But my lawyer advised me to try to postpone it because due to me just coming out of the hole, and by that time, a lot of the laws had changed. Now, instead of denying a person just 1 year, they could give you a 3-year denial, a 5-year denial, a 7-year denial, a 10 or even 15-year denial. So imagine, man, doing 20 years. Then you go to the board and they tell you don't even come back for 7 more years, or you can't come back for 15 more years. That's a whole nother sentence,
Jeez.
So I wanted to stipulate that I wasn't ready for 3 years, but they wouldn't agree to anything under 5 years. So then I end up taking another 5-year denial.
Okay, so you take this 5-year denial, and I bet that was frustrating.
Well, you know what? My family and friends took it a little harder than I took it because, like I say, at that time, they still wasn't letting many lifers go. So, it just, like I say, I was dealing with shit by not even thinking about it. So from the time I took the 5-year denial, until the next time, that's when they started bringing in a whole lot of programs that was self-help programs and stuff to get us ready to see the board. And so by the time it came up for me to go again, then I was prepared and I was ready to go. And like I say, I felt I would get out. It was a big chance of of me getting out because I was seeing so many other people released.
And how many years have you done at this time?
By that time, I'd probably done somewhere probably about maybe 17, 18 years. You talking about when I took the 5-year denial?
No, right before you got out. The last time you went to the parole.
Oh, the last time I went to the board, I had done 24 years on. It was
24 years.
Yeah, it was close to 24 years.
Yeah, so you go there. Well, what's it like at a parole hearing?
Oh man, well it's hard. It's hard because you have two parole commissioners. You have a main parole commissioner and you have a deputy parole commissioner, and they basically just ask you about about your life, about your crime, why did it happen. They ask you about a lot of your prison experience in terms of disciplinary actions and stuff like that. So they want you to be able to break down what happened, and also they want you to be accountable and explain who you were when you committed the crime and who you are today.
Okay.
But if you don't have the answers, like I say, if you haven't took these self-help groups, or if you haven't really looked deeply at those things, it can be extremely tough up in there.
So you go in there, they must like what they heard, and they grant you parole.
Well, the first time I go in there, they give me a denial. I had just recently got a write-up. Now, also in prison, they want you to basically be 5 years disciplinary free, which is extremely tough due to the fact that, prison is so spontaneous. California, you got so much going on with the racial politics. You got the Crips, you got the Bloods, anything could happen. So 5 years of not getting into any trouble is it's quite a feat. So, but yeah, the first time I physically went, they denied me and told me I could come back in 3 years. So once I did come back, but now they have a policy where you don't have to wait the whole 3 years. You can file what's called a petition to advance your hearing if you stay out of trouble. So they basically brought me back in about 14 months. So when I went back, the second time is when they finally granted me parole. But now the second time I go back, they still had harped on the write-up that I got the first time. And that's basically all one of the commissioners talked about. They had wrote me up for disrespecting staff. And I didn't think I was going to get released because, like I say, the deputy commissioner, that's all he talked about the whole time that I was in there. He questioned me about that incident.
Okay, so you finally get released.
Right.
In 2018.
2018.
What's that like for you?
Oh man, it was lovely. It was lovely, and so I got released. My mom picked me up. My mom and my aunt. We ended up going to IHOP, and then the very next day, I had to turn myself in to it's called a transitional house. Basically, it's basically like a house to help you get reacclimated to society. So, but it's still better than being locked up. You got to leave on the weekends, see your family and friends and that type of stuff. So, you could work and get a job. You could have a car there if you was able to afford one. And so it was just, it was cool, man. I'm back. I'm being free. I'm hanging out. I'm got a cell phone. I'm talking to people and just trying to, get reacclimated to life.
Okay. Wow, man. Okay. And now you got your YouTube channel and you're doing, I think, a lot of good things for the community and helping out with Melvin Farmer, I believe.
Right. Yeah, Melvin Farmer's a good friend of mine. And, from time to time, we'll go out to where I grew up at. They have a homeless camp. We pass out food and stuff, do that stuff down there.
You got out of jail, you're grinding, it's probably hard to make a living.
Right.
Especially at first. And you decide to get into the YouTube game. How'd that come about?
Well, I always used to like to rap. And so initially I created my page to, put my music videos and some of my rapping and stuff on there. I got a good song, by the way, that's called Never Gave Me Therapy. Definitely be sure to check that out. It's on all major streaming sites, Apple, Spotify, stuff like that. So the studio that I was going to, the producer, he ended up catching COVID. And I remember around that time, I think I had like 135 subscribers. And so, I'm thinking like, damn, well, what can I do, to keep people looking at my page and stuff? So I remember that people was always kind of amused when I told them that I had done 24 years in prison. So I said to myself, well, damn, I'll start, talking about that. And so it happened to slowly grow. Initially I'd put up a story, maybe in a week, I might get 200-300 views, So I do this for a couple weeks, maybe a month or so. Then one day I I'm chilling and I get a notification on my YouTube page that this other guy who does prison stories, this dude by the name of St. Laz up out of New York, that's the spelling on that is ST.LAZ. He shouts me out on his page, you know, which I thought was cool because, you know, we both do YouTube. We're in the same genre, you know, but most people would have been like, probably, man, fuck this dude. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I'm from California. He's from New York. He didn't even know me or nothing, you know, but he just shouted me out. You know, I think that helped increase some of my subscribers. And then to this day, he continued, you know, to give me information, help me out, give me tips and stuff. So that was real cool, man. You know, that's one thing that I like, you know, just showing a little unity. So y'all definitely be sure to rock with him and check him out, man. St. Laz. And then at some point in time, I also flew out to Virginia to go interview this other guy by the name of Banky Pound, he's done 32 years in the Virginia prison system. So I went out there, interviewed him, he interviewed me. So, you know, just a lot of us YouTubers coming together, man, showing love, you know, showing love to people and stuff and trying to make this stuff go on. Cause you know, YouTube got a lot of money, man, so it ain't no need for us to all worry about being in competition and stuff, you know. YouTube got a lot of money to pass out, and let's all get it.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I hear that, man. YouTube got a lot of money.
Yeah, they don't care about writing them checks.
Nah, man, they don't, man. There's plenty of interviews for everybody. There's plenty of time for everybody.
Yeah.
No need to hate on nobody.
Right.
I feel that, definitely.
Also, I got a funny prison story that's called You Might Be Deaf, But We Don't Care. And that's almost at 300,000 views, and which I only done about six or 7 months ago. So check those out too. They're real, you know, real amazing, real funny.
That's what's up, man. That's dope. Is there anything else you want to add that you want to touch on?
No, I just want everybody to, you know, check me out. Go to my YouTube page, 16 to Life. Check out some stories and let me know what you think. You know, real interesting, real entertaining.
That's what's up, bro. I appreciate you.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
Yes, for sure, man.
All right.